We're going to start with our breaking news, and that is about the former president, Joe Biden. Joe Biden was diagnosed with an aggressive form of prostate cancer. The cancer has metastasized to the bone. That's according to a statement from Mr. Biden's personal office.
So they are definitely kicking people off of Medicaid. House Republicans passed their oversight bill. They're getting rid of the Medicaid.
That are $10,000 a month. And really, you look at me, I'm from Youngstown, Ohio. How have you cut all these cuts? How the hell would I be able to shop at that store?
So that's right. Every single time they got in front of a camera, every time they stood on the House floor, every time they opened up their mouths to say, we're not going to touch it. We're not going to go after your Medicaid.
You trusted them. They lied to you.
I don't think Social Security is something that's even being discussed by House Republicans.
Well, it is by one, actually, your colleague. Let's listen to Congressman Rich McCormick.
We're going to have some hard decisions. We got to bring the Democrats in and talk about Social Security, Medicaid, Medicare. There's hundreds of billions of dollars to be saved, and we know how to do it. We just have to have the stomach to actually take those challenges on.
Nothing is sacrosanct. Nothing. They're going to put everything on the table.
That's what they told lawmakers. Everything is on the table, and that includes Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid.
You all kept coming to us saying we're fear-mongering. They're not doing that. They're doing it.
What up, my beautiful black people? Welcome to Black People Politics Network. I'm Mr. Red. Today's Monday recap is heavy, real heavy. We got former President Joe Biden dealing with brain cancer, Republicans tripping in Congress over a so-called one big beautiful bill, and a Democrat trying to speak MAGA's language. Let's get into it. Over the weekend, news broke that former President Joe Biden has been diagnosed with an aggressive form of prostate cancer. Now look, I'm not here to speculate or celebrate. I'm here to tell y'all, this is big. This diagnosis explained a lot of what we've seen over the past few months. Biden seeming more frail, less present, and clearly stepping back from the spotlight. But now it's confirmed. His health has taken a serious turn.
Just so on the same page, when J.D. Vance says, well, I hope Joe Biden recovers, but we need to have a serious conversation about whether or not he was fit to be president, whether he hid this diagnosis and that diagnosis was impacting his ability to be president. Number one, he's saying to every person who has cancer or anyone you know who has cancer that they are unfit or unable to live their lives effectively. More important in my mind politically, he's saying that the Biden administration covered this up while being a part of an administration that is actively lying about the height and weight of the president of these United States, because there's no way on God's green earth that that man is 223 pounds.
Oh, hell no.
And let's be honest, there was a debate on whether Biden should be the nominee again. Chances are he would have had serious health issues going into the beginning of his presidency. Some people saw Biden as a familiar face, even if it wasn't their favorite. Others had concern about Kamala's readiness or policy chops. But now the choice is clear. She was the right candidate in a country that wasn't ready or appreciative. Biden did the best he could given the mess he inherited from Donald Trump's first term. He didn't do enough to let the people know of what he was doing for them. The media didn't tell people enough about the record accomplishments of him as president that will be forgotten in history because he was sandwiched in between a man who has put a dark cloud on America and is standing in the world. And now Biden battles for his life. We here pray for his recovery, regardless of my thoughts on the man. Drop a comment. What are your thoughts on Biden's cancer diagnosis? While the Democratic establishment tries to keep things steady, Republicans in Congress are in full-on meltdown mode. Speaker Mike Johnson is pushing something called the One Big Beautiful Bill. Sounds like Trump wrote it himself. This bill is a massive package that includes extending the 2017 tax cuts, eliminating taxes on tips and overtime, increasing senior tax deductions, and enhancing border security and energy supplies. However, to offset the cost of these tax breaks, the bill proposes deep cuts exceeding $1.8 trillion to programs like Medicaid, clean energy initiatives, student loans, and food stamps.
Pay some shit from the rich as well. But you don't want to do that. You want to give them more off of the backs of American people. You're going to cut SNAP by $300 billion. Medicaid, healthcare for the poorest, $700 billion. You won't even give a cut to individuals making over $1 billion, which would have taken away $1 trillion that we could put back into other things. This is about the wealthy. This is not about the American people.
Now here's the kicker. These cuts would disproportionately affect the very people who voted for Trump.
Check this out. I thought this was a mistake. I thought I was not reading this correctly. Anyone making less than $15,000 sees an increase in their taxes of 74.3%. And from $15,000 to $30,000 of 20.6%. Is that correct? Or is that, did you guys make a mistake? Or is that
no mistake in the numbers?
Many of his supporters are working class individuals who rely on programs like Medicaid and SNAP to make ends meet. The Congressional Budget Office estimates that the current spending proposals would remove 8.6 million people from Medicaid.
So, Senator Hawley, the expectation, though, is in this House GOP plan, millions could lose health insurance coverage. We're waiting for the exact numbers when the Congressional Budget Office analyzes this impact, but that is the expectation. It also, some of the changes could put some rural hospitals at risk. It also puts in place some new copay requirements for Medicaid beneficiaries. Wow. Does that concern you?
Yes, both of those things concern me. Number one, I don't want to see any more rural hospitals in Missouri or anywhere else in America go out of business.
Because if you live in a rural community, you're going to be hurt too. In New York 23, 25% of people are on Medicaid. In this area of upstate New York, Westfield Memorial Hospital will be at risk of closure. UPMC is at risk of closure.
I'm worried that the House bill goes way too far in that regard. I also don't like what is basically a hidden tax on working poor people who are trying to get health care. I mean, this whole idea of we're going to charge them now additional copays in order to access health care. I have to say that just sounds like a tax to me. So now we're taxing poor people when they're trying to get access to health care?
All I want is for you to show me the money.
Moreover, the bill would add approximately $5.7 trillion to the national debt over the next 10 years. This increase in debt could lead to higher interest rates and inflation, further straining the finances of everyday Americans.
It's asking conservatives like myself to raise the debt ceiling $5 trillion. That's historic. No one's ever raised the debt ceiling that much. It will be a record for Congress to raise the debt $5 trillion.
But do you see what they're doing? They're cutting health care for 13.7 million Americans, the largest cut to health care in U.S. history, to give tax cuts to billionaires and to big corporations.
The politics of this are so bad, it literally blows my mind. That is what the American people think of this. Major spending cuts to Medicaid. Look at this. 76% opposed. Just 24% favor major federal spending cuts to Medicaid. As I said, the politics of this are so extremely bad, it blows my mind, Kate.
But this is what people voted for. People voted for a man who is willing to take away the things that help them in order to give billionaires tax breaks. Hear that again. Billionaires needing tax breaks. To what extent? That's what's stupid about this goddamn bill. Now this next part got my attention. Democrat Ro Khanna is pitching something called Blue MAGA. Sounds crazy, right? But here's what he means. Progressive capitalism, investing in American manufacturing, steel, tech, and green jobs. Now here it was that I thought that this was what the Democrats were pushing before. Maybe I was wrong. He wants Democrats to talk more like working class folks, factory workers, truck drivers, and yes, black men who feel the system left them behind. As much as I could say, this won't work. We've learned that people do not have the education or the smarts to be talked to like civilized adults. And as much as I would love to complain about this strategy or tactic, it has been obviously proven that we have to dumb all messages down so people can actually get this shit. But this idea of Blue MAGA, could it work? Ro Khanna, to me, is one of those Democrats who I believe has the best interest of working people, along with Jasmine Crockett, AOC, and Bernie Sanders, and a few others to name.
In my view, what the Democratic Party, there are two benefits of going out there to red districts and meeting folks. One, we're going to put the pressure on these Republicans so we can flip 3 Republicans to stop the worst cuts. And we look like we're actually fighting, marching with people upset. The second thing is we may learn a thing or two. We learn why are we disconnected? Why are they upset at us? Where did we go wrong? What are the things that they want of the Democratic Party?
People like Ro Khanna should be proof positive that the Democratic Party needs a significant overhaul. And that overhaul needs to be getting rid of every corporate Democrat so that when you go to the polls, you vote these fuckers out.
That is why I'm introducing a 5-point plan. First, ban all PAC and lobbyist money to congressional campaigns. I don't take a dime of it. Second, ban completely stock trading and members of Congress from ever becoming lobbyists. Activists like Unusual Whales, Quiver Quantitative, and the leaders at Crew have been mobilizing for this. Third, term limits for members of Congress. Fourth, term limits for Supreme Court justices. And fifth, an ethics code for Supreme Court justices. This is common sense. The people demand it. It's time we give them back their government and we reform in Washington.
Y'all, the system is cracking. A former president is facing a serious illness. A clown show is going on in Congress with these Republicans and their inability to govern, and parties trying to reinvent themselves on the fly. But one thing remains. We must be engaged, educated, and ready. Because if we don't shape this country, trust and believe, this country will reshape us into what? I have no clue. I'm Mr. Red, and this is Black People Politics Network. Stay vigilant. Consider subscribing to the channel to make us stronger. Consider donating to our Cash App because YouTube has saw it fit to demonetize this channel. Your donations help keep us going. And last, stay vigilant, stay engaged, stay revolutionary.